From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. We start in Sydney, Australia, where local police say a father-son duo is behind the mass shooting that killed at least 15 people and injured 38 others.
The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment.
Police say those killed in the attack at Sydney's Bondi Beach were between the ages of 10 and 87 years old. The gunshots rang out during a ceremony marking the first night of the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Australia's Prime Minister says what was once a beautiful place associated with joy is now tarnished.
An act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations.
Canadian leaders are also condemning the shooting.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says in a social media post that Canada stands with the people of Australia and Jewish people everywhere in sorrow following the shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach. Montreal Mayor Soraya Martinez-Ferrada says the attack breaks her heart. Meanwhile, Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he's praying for the victims and their loved ones and hopes those responsible are brought to justice. Brenda Molina Navidad, The Canadian Press.
Carney spoke at an event in Ottawa today to mark the beginning of Hanukkah.
This is about taking the light and spreading it today across our country and 3 generations, so that this is the last generation that has to struggle against hate.
As rabbis of Montreal and Toronto synagogues say Hanukkah celebrations will continue as planned, choosing light over darkness. Police in both cities say they have increased officer presence within Jewish communities for safety and security reasons in the wake of the deadly mass shooting in Australia. Floodwaters in Abbotsford, BC seem to be receding. The provincial government has reopened Highway 1 out of Abbotsford in both directions after being closed for days due to flooding. Also, an evacuation order for over 300 properties in the Sumas Prairie could soon be lifted as damage assessments have been deemed safe to re-enter. Environment Canada rainfall warnings are in place across British Columbia's flood-drenched Fraser Valley as another wave of soaking weather hits the region. And candy company Mars Canada is bringing back the Hudson's Bay holiday windows. General Manager Ellen Thompson says her team was wandering by the department store's former Toronto flagship when it got the idea to revive the windows.
There were so many people on social media that were talking about how much they were going to miss the windows, and we thought to ourselves, we can do something about this.
Until Mars stepped in, the HBC windows were due to be empty this holiday season because the department store filed for creditor protection and closed all its stores earlier this year. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Zeev Buiam scored in his first game since being traded to Vancouver, and the Canucks beat the New Jersey Devils 2-1. The game was initially supposed to be Quinn Hughes and the Canucks against brothers Jack and Luke. Instead, Quinn was traded to Minnesota in a blockbuster move on Friday. Tonight, the Edmonton Oilers visit the Montreal Canadiens. 14 games on the NFL schedule today. The Buffalo Bills overcame a 21-point deficit to beat the New England Patriots 35-31, while the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Las Vegas Raiders 31-0. The Toronto Raptors are off tonight, and Canada fell 4-1 to the United States in the fourth and final game of their women's hockey rivalry series. The U.S. won all 4 games. Canadian captain Marie-Philippe Poulin says there's still time for Canada to sharpen its game ahead of February's Winter Olympics.
We know there's work to be done. I don't think we can take those 4 games and get down on ourselves.
Canada opens defense of its Olympic gold medal on February 4th against Finland in Milan, Italy. This is the Canadian Press.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.